Hello everyone and welcome back to the Learn and Talk podcast. Today's episode is especially important for anyone who wants to improve their English step by step without feeling overwhelmed. Our topic today is how to learn English daily.
That's right, Emma. Many learners believe they need long study hours to improve, but the truth is very different. Daily learning, even for a short time, can completely change your English level.
Exactly. In this episode, we're going to talk about realistic daily habits, modern learning methods, and how to make English a natural part of your everyday life.
And before we start, we have a quick request for our listeners. If you enjoy learning English through real conversations, please like this video and leave a comment below.
Tell us how often you study English and what your biggest challenge is. Your comments help this channel grow and help us create better lessons for you.
Stay with us until the end, listen carefully, and let's learn how to make English part of your daily routine, naturally, confidently, and effectively.
Daniel, many English learners say they want to learn English every day, but they don't know where to start. They often feel confused because there are too many apps, books, videos, and methods. Some learners say things like I don't have a clear plan or I study randomly. So my first question is, what does it really mean to learn English daily? Please explain how learners can create a simple daily routine using modern ideas like consistency, habit building, and realistic goals. Also, explain grammar structures that learners use to talk about daily habits, such as the present simple tense and adverbs of frequency like every day, usually, and sometimes. Finally, how can learners talk about their daily English practice in a positive and confident way instead of feeling stressed or guilty when they miss a day?
Emma, learning English daily does not mean studying for hours every day. It means having regular contact with the language. In English, we describe daily habits using the present simple tense. For example, I study English every day, I listen to podcasts in the morning, or I review vocabulary at night. These sentences describe routines, and routines create progress. Consistency is more important than intensity. Learners should focus on small, repeatable actions. A learner can say, I usually study for 15 minutes. The adverb usually shows a regular habit without pressure. Even sentences like I sometimes skip a day are honest and natural. Missing a day does not mean failure. Creating a daily routine starts with choosing one activity. For example, listening to English while commuting or reading a short article before bed. Learners can say, I learn English while doing other things. This sentence shows integration, not stress. Grammar helps learners talk about habits clearly. Adverbs of frequency like always, often, sometimes, and rarely help describe reality. For example, I often practice listening, but I rarely write. This helps learners understand their strengths and weaknesses. Many learners feel guilty when they miss a day. Instead of saying, I failed today, they can say, I didn't study today, but I will continue tomorrow. The future form will show intention and confidence. Daily learning should feel normal, not heavy. Learners can say, English is part of my daily life. This sentence reflects a healthy mindset. The present perfect tense can also help learners see progress over time, such as I have improved my listening skills. This shifts focus from daily mistakes to long-term growth. In short, learning English daily means staying connected, being consistent, and using simple routines. When learners describe their habits positively, they feel motivated and confident.
Daniel, many learners struggle to stay motivated when learning English every day. They start strong, but after a few weeks, they feel bored, tired, or discouraged. They say things like I lost motivation or I feel stuck. So my next question is, how can learners stay motivated while learning English daily? Please include useful expressions such as stay motivated, enjoy the process, and track your progress. Also, explain grammar structures that learners use to talk about motivation and goals, such as using be going to, want to, and need to. Additionally, how can learners talk about low motivation honestly without feeling negative or ashamed?
Emma, motivation comes from meaning, not pressure. Learners stay motivated when they connect English to their lives. For example, I want to speak English confidently or I am going to use English at work. These sentences show personal goals using want to and be going to. Enjoying the process is very important. Learners can say, I enjoy listening to English podcasts. When learning is enjoyable, motivation lasts longer. English should not feel like punishment. Tracking progress also builds motivation. Learners can say, I have learned 10 new words this week. This sentence uses the present perfect tense to show achievement. Small wins create confidence. When motivation is low, learners should talk about it honestly. Instead of saying, I am lazy, they can say, I feel tired this week. This describes a temporary state, not a personal flaw. Modal verbs are also useful. Learners can say, I need to practice speaking more, or I should change my routine. These sentences show awareness and responsibility. Motivation also increases when learners vary activities. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing should be balanced. Learners can say, I practice different skills to stay interested. Finally, learners should remember that motivation changes. Consistency is more reliable. Learners can say, I study even when I don't feel motivated. This sentence shows discipline and maturity. In summary, staying motivated comes from enjoyment, clear goals, and positive language. When learners speak kindly about their motivation, they stay engaged and continue learning daily.
Daniel, for our final question, I want to focus on real-life English. Many learners study grammar and vocabulary but struggle to use English in daily situations. They say things like, I understand English, but I can't speak. So my question is, how can learners practice English daily in a practical, real-life way? Please include useful expressions such as use English actively, think in English, and practice real situations. Also, explain grammar structures related to speaking practice, such as question forms, short answers, and common daily phrases. Finally, how can learners build confidence when using English every day, even if their grammar is not perfect?
Emma, learning English daily should focus on use, not perfection. Using English actively means speaking, even with mistakes. Learners can start with simple sentences like, what are you doing? Or how was your day? These question forms are essential for daily conversation. Thinking in English also helps. Learners can describe actions silently, such as I am cooking now or I am walking to work. The present continuous tense is perfect for this. Practicing real situations is very effective. Learners can practice ordering food, making requests, or giving opinions. For example, I would like a coffee or I think this is a good idea. These phrases are practical and common. Confidence grows through repetition. Learners can say, I am becoming more confident. This present continuous sentence shows progress. Mistakes are part of learning. Learners should say, I make mistakes, but I keep speaking. This sentence shows courage and persistence. Short answers are also useful. Saying yes, I do or no, I don't helps learners respond naturally. In daily practice, grammar supports clarity, but communication is more important. Learners can say, people understand me, even if my English is not perfect. In conclusion, daily English practice should be active, practical, and confident. When learners use English every day, even in small ways, fluency becomes natural over time.
Daniel, many English learners say they practice every day, but they still feel that their progress is slow. They often say things like, I study daily, but I don't see improvement or I feel stuck at the same level. This can be very discouraging and can cause learners to give up. So my question is, how can learners measure their progress when learning English daily? Please explain useful expressions such as track your progress, notice small improvements, and review your learning. These phrases are common in modern English learning discussions. Also, include grammar structures that learners can use to talk about progress, such as the present perfect tense and comparative forms like better and more confident. Finally, how can learners talk about slow progress in a positive and motivating way instead of feeling frustrated?
Emma, measuring progress is one of the most important but misunderstood parts of learning English daily. Many learners expect fast, visible results, but language improvement is gradual. To talk about progress, the present perfect tense is very useful. For example, learners can say, I have improved my listening skills or I have learned many new expressions. These sentences focus on progress over time, not on a single day. Tracking progress helps learners see small improvements. Learners can keep a simple record and say, I have practiced speaking 3 times this week. This shows effort and consistency. Notice how the sentence emphasizes action, not perfection. Comparative forms also help learners describe improvement. For example, I speak better than before, or I feel more confident now. These comparisons show movement forward, even if the progress feels slow. Many learners feel frustrated and say, I am not improving fast enough. A more positive sentence is, my progress is slow, but it is real. This sentence accepts reality without negativity. Reviewing learning regularly is also important. Learners can say, I review my mistakes to learn from them. This sentence shows growth and responsibility. Another helpful phrase is notice small improvements. Learners might say, I notice that I understand more conversations now. This awareness builds motivation. Grammar supports positive thinking. Using yet, such as I am not fluent yet, shows that progress is ongoing, not finished. In summary, progress should be measured by consistency, awareness, and confidence. When learners talk about progress clearly and kindly, they stay motivated and continue learning English daily.
Daniel, another challenge many learners face is balancing English learning with a busy daily life. People work, study, take care of family, and still want to improve their English. They often say things like I don't have enough time or I am too busy to study properly. So my question is, how can learners fit English learning into their daily lives without feeling overwhelmed? Please include practical expressions such as learn in small moments, integrate English into your life, and make learning flexible. Also, explain grammar structures related to talking about time and routines, such as using time expressions and modal verbs like can and have to. Finally, how can learners talk about limited time in a confident way instead of feeling discouraged?
Emma, fitting English into daily life is about integration, not addition. Learners do not need extra time, they need better use of existing time. Learners can say, I learn English in small moments. This sentence shows flexibility and realism. English can be integrated into daily routines. For example, listening to English while commuting or thinking in English while doing chores. Learners can say, I practice English while I work. This sentence uses while to show simultaneous actions. Modal verbs help learners talk about time honestly. For example, I can study for 10 minutes or I have to work during the day. These sentences explain reality without excuse or guilt. Time expressions are also helpful. Learners can say, in the morning, during lunch, or in the evening. This helps structure daily routines. Instead of saying, I am too busy, learners can say, my time is limited, so I choose short study sessions. The structure so shows smart decision-making. Flexibility is key. Learners should allow themselves to adjust. They can say, I make learning flexible. This sentence reflects a healthy mindset. Grammar also supports confidence. Using simple, clear sentences shows control over time and learning. In conclusion, daily English learning should fit into life naturally. When learners use English in small moments and talk about time positively, they stay consistent and continue improving.
Daniel, many English learners focus heavily on grammar rules every day, but they still struggle to speak naturally. They often say things like I know the grammar but I can't speak fluently or I think too much before I talk. This creates fear and hesitation, especially in real conversations. So my question is, how can learners balance grammar study with daily speaking practice? Please include useful expressions such as speak naturally, stop overthinking, and focus on communication. Also, explain grammar concepts that are important for speaking, such as sentence structure, word order, and common verb patterns, without overwhelming learners. Finally, how can learners talk about grammar mistakes confidently and understand that mistakes are a normal part of learning English daily?
Emma, this is a very common problem. Grammar is important, but communication is more important. Many learners know grammar rules, but they are afraid to speak because they want to be perfect. To speak naturally, learners must accept that mistakes are part of the process. In daily speaking, learners should focus on simple sentence structure. For example, subject plus verb plus object. I like coffee, I study English, I watch videos. These basic patterns are enough for clear communication. Overthinking grammar slows down speech. Word order is more important than complex rules. English usually follows a fixed word order. Learners can say, I am learning English every day. This sentence is clear, natural, and grammatically correct. Learners should stop translating in their heads. A useful sentence is, I try to think in English. Using the present simple shows a habit. When mistakes happen, learners should talk about them positively. Instead of saying, my grammar is bad, they can say, I am improving my grammar. This uses the present continuous to show progress. Grammar mistakes do not block communication. Learners can say, people understand me, even when I make mistakes. This builds confidence. Verb patterns are also helpful for speaking. For example, enjoy plus verb ing, I enjoy learning English. Or want plus to plus verb, I want to speak fluently. These patterns are common and practical. Learners should practice speaking daily, even for a few minutes. Short daily speaking builds fluency faster than long grammar study sessions. In summary, grammar should support speaking, not stop it. When learners focus on communication, accept mistakes, and use simple structures, they speak more confidently and naturally every day.
Daniel, my final question is about confidence. Many learners practice English daily, but they still feel shy or afraid to use English with other people. They say things like, I am afraid of making mistakes or people will judge my English. This fear often stops learners from making real progress. So my question is, how can learners build confidence while learning English daily? Please include expressions such as build confidence, overcome fear, and practice without pressure. Also, explain grammar structures that help learners talk about confidence and fear, such as using because, so, and conditional sentences. Finally, how can learners change their mindset and talk about confidence as a skill they can develop, not something they either have or don't have?
Emma, confidence is not something people are born with. It is something they build. Learners gain confidence through action, not waiting. They can say, I build confidence by practicing every day. This sentence shows cause and effect. Fear often comes from worrying about mistakes. Learners can explain this using because. For example, I feel nervous because I am afraid of mistakes. Understanding the reason helps reduce fear. Practicing without pressure is very important. Learners can start by speaking to themselves or recording their voice. They can say, I practice speaking alone. This removes social pressure. Conditional sentences also help learners describe confidence growth. For example, if I practice every day, I will feel more confident. This first conditional shows a realistic and positive future result. Learners should reframe fear. Instead of saying, I am bad at English, they can say, I am learning English. This simple change shifts mindset. Confidence grows when learners notice success. They can say, people understand me, so I feel more confident. The word so shows result and connection. Daily practice builds emotional strength. Learners can say, I am becoming more confident. The present continuous shows ongoing improvement. Finally, learners must accept that mistakes mean progress. A powerful sentence is, I make mistakes, but I keep speaking. This shows courage and determination. In conclusion, confidence comes from practice, positive language, and patience. When learners talk about confidence as a skill they are building, they become braver, stronger, and more fluent every day.